your chances of a white holiday season here. This is going to run from around the 20th through the 30th of December. So this is on an annual average. So this is going to be your average. Now, most areas in the white here, 90% chance or greater that you're going to get a white Christmas on average, okay? Now, we're going to keep adding layers here. It's 75 to 90% in the red, so most of the northern U.S. The areas in the white are mostly mountainous regions. Then we're going to add more, 60 to 75% chance for most of the interior northeast, especially towards the lakes, and the far northern U.S. You usually get cold blasts here, especially in December. It seems like you get a lot of cold blasts in that area that kind of track out there. There's a lot of air masses or Arctic air masses that build in Western Canada with snowpack, and that can track and really increase your odds for that area right there. Now, we're going to continue this 50 to 60% chance for most of the northern U.S. and really all of the West, near and even in lower elevations. And then we're going to continue it even further here. 40 to 50% extends all the way down to the I-80 corridor, really, and then parts of northeastern United States, and pretty much the same as the prior there. And then we'll continue it 25 to 40%. The larger area goes down through the central United States, affects even parts of the southwestern United States, and then about a 10 to 25% chance of a white Christmas for areas all the way down, maybe even parts of the southern United States to Kansas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Arizona, and then south of the Appalachians and into maybe as far south as Tennessee. That's being a little bit generous, but typically, again, what do these percentages mean? Well, essentially 75% chance, 90%, you're going to have a white Christmas. So it's basically, let's say you're at a 10% chance, that's 1 out of 10 Christmases that'll be white. If you're at let's say an 80% chance right in the middle of there, that means 8 out of 10 Christmases will be snowy. So here's a higher resolution map. You can pause the video or whatever. This is from the National Weather Service, so it's a little bit higher resolution. So especially if you're in a higher elevation area, you can use this map as a reference. Now, how's that going to compare to this winter? Well, this is also your first snowfall. Now, you can use this map as kind of a reference. Now, this doesn't mean the snow is going to last or that it's going to be enough. So, you can get snow earlier than that, obviously. But again, it really depends on how much snow you get. And typically, most people's snowfall ends up, in this blue area in north, going to be before December. Again, patterns change. Things can warm up and melt the snow by the time the holiday season rolls around. Now, how's that going to compare to this winter? First and foremost, this is my temperature outlook for fall, and this goes from October through December 1st. And you can see everywhere pretty much above average temperatures, especially above average in the southern and eastern United States. That's going to change, though, I believe. Now, this area in the northern United States, especially this area right here, I believe is going to get cooler, and even parts of the northeastern United States. And I'll go over that in a second. The precipitation outlook for fall, generally above average, especially in the northern and central part of the United States and parts of the northwestern United States as well, especially towards Washington. Maybe you could actually include this area as well. They're getting pounded pretty hard. And then the coastline along the East Coast, maybe even into Florida, slightly to moderately above average precipitation as well. Now, as we transition to December through February, this is my forecast at the moment. I believe we're going to head towards a neutral winter. There's a lot of warm water out here that's going to cause ridging, and that's going to cause warm conditions in the southwestern United States. Could have some good Arctic snowpack that builds up there from that ridging and east of the ridge, and basically, this is going to build up here, and that's going to track south and crash into the northern and eastern United States. Now, when this happens, I think this will gradually start to increase as we head towards December, especially towards mid-December. This flip towards this pattern is going to be key, though, because it's going to be a little bit warmer than average before then. But the greatest area of cold is going to be in this area. So I believe these areas right here, these areas have a heightened chance of a snowy Christmas. Now, especially up in this area right here. Okay, I think that's going to be your most likely area. So you could actually increase those odds that we had up here, maybe by 10 or 20% for, that area. So that's kind of this area in pink. Basically, that area in pink is probably, and maybe even the purple area right here, maybe east of the Dakotas, along and east of the Dakotas. That's about a 50% or above. You could probably raise it about 10% this winter just because it could be colder than average as we head towards December, especially January and December. Now, snowfall amounts, this area, same area really, is also going to be slightly above average for snowfall amounts this winter. Ignore that. That's supposed to be December through March, and maybe even moderately above average here in the northeastern United States, especially towards the Ohio Valley and the interior northeastern United States. The pattern looks a little more ripe for more snow this winter, and I think it's going to get kicked off in December, where we're going to have some pretty good above average precipitation for the southeast quadrant of the United States. That mixed with cooler than average temperatures could spell a pretty good snow chance, especially in this area right here as we head towards December. Again, will it happen by Christmas? My guess is yes. My hunch is yes. But I believe this pattern will eventually set up this winter. Drier than average out here, less snow, less likely to have a snowy winter. But again, a lot of these areas in the mountainous region have a snowy winter anyway, because they get a lot of snow anyway. So maybe in that area, you could subtract about 10 or so percent, 20% maybe as you get towards Arizona, New Mexico, and California, except most of their snow goes in the mountains. So that's what the general pattern's looking like this winter. Areas that weren't in any of those risk or the precipitation colors, kind of in the middle, just have about an average chance. Kind of in this area, just an average chance, basically what the map says. Areas out here, again, maybe add about 10%, and then areas out here, maybe subtract about 10% from this map. So that's what this winter is looking like for your white Christmas. Now, the second half of these videos, we're going to do little special segments just for fun here. Some of them will show some crazy photos and videos, and some of them will look at past events, and that's what we're going to do today. But first, comment below, what is the date of the craziest winter storm that you've experienced? I think I'm going to take some of your ideas and stuff and then put these into the videos so that we can have some cool content to talk about. And this particular storm I'm going to be talking about is the winter storm that affected the northern plains from December 24th through 26th. So basically Christmas Eve through the day after. And here's the National Weather Service's forecast. When they first mentioned this thing, it was all the way out here. Shoot, that's getting, in the motherland. And then this thing tracked all the way down into the United States, and they forecasted this area right here would get slammed by a winter storm around Christmas. Well, what happened? They got slammed by a storm near Christmas. So forecasting does work. Snow forecasting does work sometimes. And here you go, 12 inches for most of that area in North Dakota. They got slammed by a big one, 18 to 24 inches there. This is what it looked like. Good luck trying to get to work. Well, I mean, no one's going to go to work typically on a lot of people have off, but nonetheless, it was a snow day either way. You can't get out of that. And you pretty much have to snow blow your car's windshield off. So pretty crazy. That's some drifting there. Good 18 to 24 inches. And then, that's the road right there. Just nuts. I mean, it's probably, 4 or 5 feet, 6 feet in some of those areas. So definitely pretty crazy. You could create a little door or something and go inside and make an igloo with that amount of snow. Pretty crazy. Pretty compact snow, too. Here's the low pressure system. This thing was a classic winter storm. It deepened as it went just across the mountains. So look for that this winter when low pressure systems really build near the mountains and just east of them. You can get them to deepen due to the mountains' influence. And you can get a nice lee side low, Colorado low they're called, and that can really set the stage for a powerful plains winter storm. You hear about the Northeast and their nor'easters and getting a bombogenesis from the Atlantic Ocean and a clipper that helps strengthen them. Well, the northern plains and central plains, they typically get their low pressure systems when they boot out of Colorado, and you get a lee side low to blow up, and that can really set the stage. Nice warm front, cold front, secondary shot of cold air behind that. This thing looks like a comma head, and you're going to see that here. Here's the satellite. Look at that thing, just a big swirling mass. Looks like a hurricane, hurricane on land. Plenty of moisture to work with it. When it really wraps up like that, when you get that wrapping, your blizzard chances really increase as the low pressure system really deepens, and you can see that right there. These are the isobars, the pressure lines, 986, super low. When these tightly packed isobars like this, you get that, you go from higher pressure to really low pressure. That's going to cause wind because that high pressure is trying to get sucked into the low pressure. And because you have that gradient, you're going to get really strong winds near the tight gradient. And that was occurring, especially right in that area. So really strong winds with that thing. And this is the moisture at the 850s, so the low-level jet. You can see that's the 0 degree line, so anything near and north of that's going to be the snow. Moisture down here getting pulled up, sucked up from the Gulf. These low-pressure systems, when they get really strong, they're going to pull moisture up really effectively from the Gulf because of that wind increase. That fed the storm, fed the beast, if you will. And here's your jet stream. Right here is your upper-level low. This is actually at 500 millibar, just below that, but you can see this divergence. When you get divergence way up high in the atmosphere, it stretches out kind of way up high. Well, something has to take its place. Here's the surface, so air goes up. It gets sucked up, and that creates lift. So you had plenty of lift that brought in moisture, thunderstorms, snow on the backside. It was a dynamic system. There's probably some severe weather farther south. And here's the radar, just plenty of moisture and lift. When you get this kind of, you see how it's kind of tilting back like that? It's called a deformation band. Good sign of a pretty strong storm system too. And you typically get blizzard conditions, especially kind of in this area and kind of behind it just like that. And plenty of snow in that area for several hours. So just a blanket of snow. So that was a memorable storm around the holiday season. We'll have more of these little case studies, and I think we'll get. I got some more graphics for these, some better graphics that I'm processing myself. So if you have any ideas, comment below. What is the date of the craziest winter storm you've experienced? I think we'll go over some of these, and I think as we head in towards the spring, we'll do some severe weather ones as well. So comment below. If you enjoy videos like this, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notifications as well, because we do go live and do live forecasts and storm events as well, have live weather chat, and then hit that like button if you like this video. And if you haven't checked out my winter forecast for this winter, check it out. I'll put a link up in there. And yeah, that's about wraps it up for this year's white or snowy Christmas, snowy holiday forecast for you. Again, if you like these videos, subscribe, and hope you have a good day, and we'll see you soon.